Just the two of us.
Oh, we can make it if we try.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is episode number 8 of the Xbox Enthusiast Podcast.
008.
My name is Jamie, and I'll be your host on this enthusiastic podcast of Xbox 8ness. And you all know my co-host, Mr. Chris White.
Hi, 8ness, huh? So we went from awesome to the 8ness of our.
That's right.
You are slowly becoming the king of puns, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know. I don't think it was a compliment, but
Maybe we should have like a crown on my head every time we record now. It'd be awesome.
you should. We're using Google Hangouts tonight. Yeah. You can actually do that. You can put a crown on.
Oh, man. Well, actually, speaking of that, anyone listening to this, we had some technical kind of difficulties. Chris's computer decided to, just go haywire.
Yeah.
So we're recording through Google Hangouts on his iPad. So let's see how this goes.
Yes. Hashtag technology.
And as you may have noticed, Andrew could not make it tonight. He had other, prior obligations. But he will be back with us next week. So Mr. Full Price will be back next week.
Next week. Yeah, they're actually playing a game, which you're going to be hearing a lot about on the site in the coming weeks. A game that we kind of had a hand in, getting off the ground. And so they have the team is having a play session. So you'll just check out the site. There's a really cool game coming down the pipe that we're going to be promoting a little bit. You guys should take just keep your eyes open. It's kind of cool.
Cool. Well, before we get into all our news and all that crazy stuff, man, it's been a while since we had a podcast. So, yeah. I mean, anything, exciting or fun going on right now outside of playing games? What are you doing, man?
Oh, it's hot. It's hot, man. It's every day here is over 100 degrees. It just feels
man.
I'm going to die.
It was 92, I want to say, here in Ohio. So it wasn't like horrible, but that humidity, man, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 94 on Friday, I think. So keeps getting warmer.
Yeah, I look forward to 94 degree days. So
that's winter in Texas, right?
Yeah. Winter is no, it's nice. It's been good. It's been busy. My daughter turned 10 over the weekend, so just been a lot going on with party planning. And if you have kids, party planning is a handful. It's all worth it in the end, but it's definitely doesn't happen by itself. So just been doing a lot of that. Hey, we beat Gears of War.
Yes, we did.
So,
we played through the first Gears of War. So
that's right.
We're going to hop into Gears 2 soon, hopefully.
Yeah. So those of you following along know that I have never played the Gears series. And so Andrew and Steve always give me a hard time. So Jamie decided he would co-op it with me. So we took down Ram, what was his name? Right?
Yes. Yep. Took down Ram. Yep.
Yeah, General Ram, put him
with the krill that surrounded him.
Yeah, stupid krill. God, I still hate the krill. The krill remind me of the Flood from Halo. There's the moment in the game that I just absolutely hate. But no, it was great. It was a lot of fun. So we got that knocked out. Gears 2 coming up soon. So looking forward to getting all that done so we can get Gears 4 when it comes out. So.
Yep. So okay, now since we're talking about stuff we're playing, man, what else have you been playing lately outside of our Gears sessions? I know you've been super super hyped about Pokemon Go.
God, I hate Pokemon Go. We don't want to talk about that. So outside of Gears, let's see. Went back and played Inside again. That game continues to be phenomenal and strange and completely abstract and definitely worth the time playing. It's great. I reviewed last week for the site. I reviewed Song of the Deep, which you can get that. You can check that review out at xboxenthusiast.com. Really good as Metroidvania type game. It struggled in the gameplay department a little bit. You're a submarine, you're underwater, so they have very floaty controls. But when you're trying to do something that's very precise and you're really kind of floating all over the place, it makes for some frustrating moments. But overall, really cool, good story, kind of a Celtic fairy tale type story, so a lot of fun there. And then just jump back into Red Dead. Red Dead went backwards compatible a couple weeks ago, so been the one thing that kind of disappointed me is I didn't have my save, and so I logged back onto my 360, and either it got deleted along the way, or maybe it was on one of the other 360s that I had, but I can't find my original save, so I'm literally starting over. But that game was so good, I don't mind it so much. So.
See, and Red Dead's one I never finished. People always give me a hard time about that, but I got to Mexico, and then other things came up, and I dropped it and never got back to it. So I do have it installed on my system. I've got physical disc of it, so I've got it installed on my system. So I will get back to it eventually.
It's great. It's great.
But actually, speaking of reviews we've been doing, I just played through The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 2.
Yes.
We got that review up. If you are a fan of Diablo, like the top-down action RPGs, make sure to check that out. That's the style of the game. You have to play the first one. It's a trilogy. They've been out on PC since 2014. They're just now moving them to Xbox One. It's about 7 months between the two games on Xbox One, so maybe next 6 months or so we'll get number 3. And they're okay. If you're used to games like Diablo, they are much higher quality. This is kind of like standard fare. It's nothing great, nothing terrible. It's just, if you really want the action RPG itch and you need to play something, check it out. Otherwise, if you avoid it or you miss it, don't shed a tear.
Now, I think I remember the first game, I believe, launched as a game with gold. Is that the same series, right? Yeah. So I actually played that, and I can kind of attest to pretty much what you said. I would have probably never bought it, but I probably played a couple of hours just because it was free, and it was fine. If you're a Diablo kind of fan, it fit that itch, but not. For me, not a lot to really go back to. Definitely no interest in picking up the second one, but for those fans of it, I'm sure it's cool.
Cool. The other thing I've been doing, if you see behind me, look at all these freaking Disney Infinities behind me. With Disney Infinity going out of business, and GameStop selling them, buy 2 get 3 free, and Amazon and Best Buy had them on sale for $2 a piece. They're so extremely cheap right now. So my wife and I kind of went on a journey and bought all the ones we wanted. The middle shelf is all the classic Disneys, and the bottom shelf is all the Marvel and Star Wars. But we own all the play sets now. So my wife and I just finished Toy Box. What's it called? Toy Box Battleground, I think is what it was called. We just played through that. We played through the Inside Out pack. We played through the Monsters Inc. pack. So we just kind of been enjoying it, playing, because she doesn't play a lot of video games, so it's fun playing games with my wife. So we've been playing a lot of Disney Infinity. The other game I put a lot of time into, I guess kind of a birthday present to myself. Monster Hunter Generations, not Xbox related, but I just want to bring this up because I love the Monster Hunter series. I've been putting a lot of time into that. But it's great.
Yeah.
If Monster Hunter Generations is kind of like a greatest hits of the Monster Hunter series. So if you haven't played the ones in the past, it kind of just mixes a lot of that stuff together. So it's actually a pretty good place to jump in. But as I was telling you before, Chris, it's a series where you really have to know what you're doing. It's got a lot of confusing mechanics and deep mechanics, and when people say, "Oh, it's boss battles," it's just boss battles. And that's pretty much what it is. It's mostly boss battles, but you have to understand the different what do you call it, sequences and stuff around them, how different items work, what you should be equipped with, how different weapons work. You have to do the frames of animation for you and for your enemies, and there's no health bars on the enemy. So you just have to watch the signs of the enemy. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we talked about it before logging on. There's actually, anybody who's interested, there's a demo for the game on the eShop, the 3DS eShop. So I downloaded the demo. I've never tried a Monster Hunter game, so this is my first one. But playing the demo a little bit, it is very daunting from the very beginning. You start and they're like, pick your weapon, and there's like 15 weapons, stuff I never heard of, like longbow and hyperbow and switch axe and insect reapers. Whatever.
See, what the insect glaive? Yeah. No, what you need to do? You need to start with a sword and shield. I mean, that's like the beginner weapon. Like, it's the easiest place to start. It's easy to understand. You swipe, you hold up your shield, you dodge. Like, that's it. I like using the switch axe myself. But okay, before we get in this on this Xbox podcast, let's push this stuff. We'll save it for another time.
All right.
One thing I forgot to mention. My wife and I went and saw Ghostbusters over the weekend.
Oh, how was it? Nobody will go with me.
It was really enjoyable.
I know. Okay. I want to see it.
Here's the best way to explain it. It's a very funny movie. If you like Bridesmaids, if you watch Spy, like that kind of humor, it's an enjoy. It kind of take that humor and put Ghostbusters in it. I mean, which sounds weird and dumb, but it still felt like a Ghostbusters movie. And I mean, it's PG-13, so it's a little more, family friendly than some of his other Paul Feig is that his name? His other movies was a little more family friendly. But the original Ghostbusters was set in like a real gritty New York, right?
Yes.
Or it was New York, Chicago.
No,
might be Chicago.
No,
It's New York. I can't. It's so funny because I've seen this movie so many times. I can't.
I feel like it's New York. I'm gonna look it up. You keep talking.
I think you're right. I think it's New York. But I mean, it's in this one. It's like the modern day comedy where it's kind of like zany characters. It's like it's realistic, but it's kind of not. I mean, it's a Ghostbusters in 2016. I mean, it's exactly what you'd expect from a movie made now. But if you're a fan of Ghostbusters, give it a chance. I mean, it's hilarious. It is actually a really funny movie. There were a couple places in it that felt kind of flat, but overall, I think it was good. And I know they're making a sequel.
So it's I'm sure they're gonna make a couple of sequels, and they should. So it is set in New York. The original set in New York.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, the cast is fantastic, and that's really what makes it. I heard that the only really questionable, like Kate McKinnon's character, she plays like the Egon, the weird, goofy, Ghostbuster. And I heard she's hit or miss sometimes. Sometimes she's really funny, and sometimes she's really strange.
If you know Kate McKinnon, see, 3 of these people are from SNL. If you know their characters from SNL and you like them on SNL, you will absolutely love this movie. And I mean, Leslie, they all have their moments. Of the 4, the funny thing is, Melissa McCarthy is probably the weakest of the 4.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because the other 3 are from SNL. They know each other really well. They play off each other really well. And she's kind of like in the movie. You know what I mean? Like with the other 3. I mean, it works. She works. I mean, it's all really good. But I think, like Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon, oh my gosh, they are hilarious in that movie.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Yeah, I texted my small group of friends that I normally would go with, and I'm like, all right, Ghostbusters. And they're all like, no, we're not going to see that. I'm like, what does it matter with you? So literally nobody will go with me. I may just have to truck it alone one day. We'll see.
Just grab your wife. Just take her.
Yeah.
So you have to go.
I don't think she's a big Ghostbuster fan. We'll have to.
See, my wife isn't either, but she loved it. She thought it was really funny.
Did she? All right. Good.
Just saying.
All right. Fair enough.
But it was good. It was good. I mean, there's all this hate on the internet. Just give it a chance.
I agree. I'm a fan. I just haven't made it yet.
Sure. And by the way, your small group of friends, sock puppets don't count. Just saying.
Yeah. Oh, that's why they wouldn't go. They couldn't afford a ticket. Man. Hard.
Okay. With that, it's been not a very busy week, but we're gonna hop into what we call the news box.
News box. And the news box is over because there's nothing to talk about.
One of these days, I plan to put music in there for the news box section, a little video, and I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
So you just go news box after I say it. It works. It's I
kind of like it now. Now, if you do make a graphic, it just needs to be like my cartoon head screaming news
boom,
box.
Boom. There you go. We're good.
I'm all right with that.
Okay. As far as Xbox news goes, Microsoft just gave their quarterly earnings report this week. Some highs and lows on there. Xbox Live revenue is up 4% over last year, which is great.
Good.
However, Xbox hardware revenue is down 33%.
Sad.
They said the main thing they attributed to that was the lower price for the console. since the console is less money than it was last year. But however, Xbox Live users have hit 49 million active users, which is up 33% from this time last year. An interesting comparison for that, Sony recently said they've got 20.8 million PlayStation Plus subscribers. So they're 20.8 to our 49 million. Just saying.
Let me ask you a question. Can we conjecture this, or is that all right?
Sure.
Why is the Xbox One? Why is it not selling?
I think it's one of those things where they had a rough start. They gave out the wrong message, a mixed message. They bundled it with Kinect. They shot themselves in the foot so many times. And Phil Spencer came. He righted the ship. I mean, he is literally doing awesome stuff with Xbox. But it took him so long to right the ship that everyone had already chosen their console by then. And honestly, with the launch of the Xbox One at the E3, at the the preview events, everything they had before it launched, Sony just came out swinging. And people made up their mind there. Before the systems were even out, they said, oh, Sony's the place to go this time. Boom.
So first off, nobody needs to misunderstand. Xbox One is doing great. It is at a great place compared to where 360 was in its same life cycle. Like, the Xbox One is selling well. It isn't like a Nintendo product. It's not failing. But it just blows my mind that even after Phil's changed direction, we've added backwards compatibility, we've redone the UI, we've kicked Kinect to the curb, we've lowered the price, and released some of the best games of this generation so far, and yet we're not even we're half of the competition. And I'm just trying to understand. Like, I'm just trying to understand for myself. I don't know. I don't understand why that's the case. Like, it blows my mind that it's just not selling more.
Well, I've got a general idea. Microsoft and Xbox has always been an American company, and it always sells best in America. Because in Europe and in Japan and all those places, PlayStation has always sold better.
Of course.
However, this time, because most of America went PlayStation, Xbox has no way to pick up that extra audience.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. It's disappointing. It'll be interesting, and we'll talk about this in a few minutes with the S coming out. It'll be very interesting with Scorpio coming out, if Microsoft can kind of get ahead. Again, there are no fear of folding. That's not the question, but it's just interesting to see how they came off of such a high with the 360, and even after a debacle launch, it makes me think of the 3DS. I don't know if you remember the 3DS launch. The 3DS launch was really bad. There was hardly any games, and it was way overpriced. And they came out, I forget the time frame, but it was like 6 months maybe after launch, and they cut the price by like 50 or 60 or 70. But I forget exactly how much it was. But then everybody who bought the console like initially was like, what are you doing? So they came out with the ambassador program, which I have because I bought the 3DS day one, and I've loved it since day one. It's one of my favorite consoles. But Nintendo came out and said, we understand that we overcharged this. We're going to fix it. And they did. And they gave the people that early adopters, they gave them games. They started bringing really good software to the platform. And it took off, and it's huge. You can attribute that to maybe the 3DS being the only main player, and they don't have a direct competition like the PlayStation is to Xbox. But it's still just interesting that even as many great things as Phil has done, we haven't been able to see kind of a turn for the shit, for that shit. So,
sure. The other good news though, Xbox has increased 13% in the hours spent gaming on the Xbox One.
Nice.
So people actually playing consecutive hours have gone up. Xbox Live users have gone up.
Yeah.
So that's all good news.
Yeah. So
but
people are playing. They're just not buying.
Right, yeah. Right. People that are playing are buying, which is good.
Do they have is there a number on there for like attach rate for software?
No, they didn't include that. No.
All right. So yeah,
nice.
People are playing. It isn't. Anytime my friends list is always lit up with people playing pretty much every time I sign on. So people are playing. It's just interesting. It's just interesting to see the great divide between the two. Like I just expected them by this point, with Phil turning things around, we would at least be a little bit closer. And it just still surprises me how far away they are. So,
right, yeah. So I mean, honestly, I think PlayStation just sort of took this generation and ran with it.
Yeah.
But it will be very interesting to see what happens when the Scorpio comes out. So.
Yeah. We'll there are some rumors right now that they're still maybe going to drop Neo this year. There was a listing not too long ago, like a couple days ago, and they're rumored that the Neo is actually still coming out. If Sony can somehow drop like a surprise announcement like that, like maybe Tokyo Game Show or at the PlayStation event like they did last year, and then release it early. I mean that could be interesting. But all right, moving on. Sure. What's next?
Okay, Dead Rising. We're all excited for Dead Rising 4 coming out in December.
Christmas.
But they announced that Dead Rising 1, Dead Rising 2, and Dead Rising Off the Record are all coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4 on on August 2nd. So that's good news. So we're actually going to get all those games. Now, they didn't say it's going to be remastered. It's going to be ports. We don't really know. I'm assuming they're just standard ports. Now, with Dead Rising 4, it's going to be Xbox One. It's going to be a timed Xbox One exclusive. Yeah. So I can see why they're releasing the games again.
Exactly.
To pretty much everybody, because I want to get everybody excited for Dead Rising 4.
Yeah. But I almost think this is just like a, hey, PlayStation fans, we still want you to buy Dead Rising 4. So in the meantime, you've never had Dead Rising 1 before, so play this for a year until we give you Dead Rising 4. So that's what this feels like to me.
Sure. And I mean, I've never played Dead Rising 2 or Off the Record, so I might check those out. And I've been kind of in the mood to play Dead Rising, but ever since that E3 trailer, I wanted to go back. Make sure you check out the Dead Rising movie, the first one, not the second one.
Enough with you and the Dead Rising movies.
Hey, I'm just saying, people have to. It's so corny, you just have to watch it. Okay.
So I just wanted to say, have you seen the backlash from Tomb Raider?
Yes. I think I was the one that shared it with you. I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's gotten even worse.
Has it?
Because they
released saying they're not going to buy it and stuff.
Yeah. Well, because they released the cover. And I don't know if you've seen that side-by-side cover image, but the cover image of the Tomb Raider with the blue background, and then she's kind of like a silhouette, and then it just says Rise of the Tomb Raider. It looks exactly like the Uncharted box that's like a yellow with a Drake silhouette that says Uncharted. Like they look exactly the same. And so they're like Sony fans are ripping it apart. So I said all that to say that I feel like that this is kind of Dead Rising's way of saying, hey guys, we're gonna come out. Please don't be mad. Here's something you can play until we do.
Saying because the time delay.
Okay. They don't want them to trash the game when it comes out in 6 months or whatever that time frame is.
Sure.
We'll see. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Sony fans are fun.
Yep. I mean, the crazy thing is, honestly, Rise of the Tomb Raider is one of the best games of this generation, of the Xbox One, PS4 generation, Wii U, that whole generation. It is one of the best games of this whole generation. Mm-hmm. If people avoid it for coming out a little bit later, I mean that's wow.
I would say both of the Tomb Raider games were fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and honestly, I didn't play the reboot until I got my Xbox One. I actually bought that with my Xbox One when they remastered the reboot. So
yeah.
To me, it's always been Xbox One series, the whole reboot, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But okay, other thing in the news, just released the Telltale Batman trailer.
Oh man, I'm so excited for this game. I'm so excited.
Why?
Well, so I love Telltale. I tend to be the walking simulator guy. So this is my kind of stuff. Wolf Among Us is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Walking Dead, the first season of Walking Dead was also just amazing. Telltale had a rough start, but when they released Walking Dead, it kind of set them on the map for what their future was going to look like. We've since then got Walking Dead season 1, season 2. We got Wolf. We got Tales from the Borderlands. We've got Game of Thrones. We got the I'm missing one, but anyway, we've got Minecraft. We've got these great games, and all of them, they all have some strengths, some weaknesses, but they've all been good quality stuff. This is the first time they've done what we've asked them to do since Walking Dead, which is fix their game engine. It's a brand new game engine that Batman is running on. So if they can give me the same impact of a game like Walking Dead or Wolf Among Us, that's actually functional, that doesn't look like a stop motion animated film half of the time, I think that I'll be just excited about that. But I mean, come on, it's Batman, like the world's greatest detective. It is perfect for this sort of world. It reminds me of Wolf. If you played Wolf Among Us, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of detective type stuff. It's a lot of inspect this and look at this blood stain and look at this picture and where should you go first. And it's kind of this noir detective story set in Fable Town. So I just imagine that being a similar thing with Batman. The trailer talks about most of the voiceover is done from Alfred's perspective. And it's all about Batman. He's telling Batman, you can be both Batman and Bruce Wayne. So it's like that's the Batman mythos. It's always this struggle between, are you Batman and do you wear Bruce Wayne, or are you Bruce Wayne and do you wear Batman, and kind of where that line falls. And just playing with that, the psyche of what a person that would do that has to go through could be super, super cool. With a very mature tone to it. So.
Cool. I mean, I'm excited for it too. I'm not a huge Batman fan, but I'm a big Telltale fan, so it'll definitely be worth checking out.
Yep.
But and that comes out September 13th.
Yep. So they're doing a retail
circle your
release.
Calendar.
now that's the retail release. We were told that the digital version is going to come a few weeks earlier. It's going to be dropped in August. I don't have a date right in front of me, but it's like the last part of August. So if you're a digital person, you can download it probably a couple weeks early, but they will have the full retail. And the full retail release comes with the game and a season pass, which will then allow you just to download each episode. There's 5 episodes, so you'll be able to download each one. And it is worth saying, I'll speak for Andrew since he's not here tonight. Andrew is very concerned about Troy Baker being Batman. And I think that we don't have to discuss whether Kevin Conroy or not should always be Batman, because he definitely should be. But at the end of the day, we only get a small bit of the Batman voice in the trailer. But look, if the story's great and the gameplay is great, we can probably live with with Troy Baker. I mean, there's a lot worse people that we could have. So.
And we can have you voice it. Then we
can have me voice Batman. How about that? We should get Will Arnett. How great would Will Arnett be in like a really gritty rated R version of Batman? So,
well, they're already doing that. It's called Lego Batman the movie.
No, it's not mature. It's not rated. That's what I'm saying. That's why it would be funny if it was just like, what are you doing? No, yeah, Will Arnett's great. So. Man, speaking of that, I hope we get a freaking Lego Batman movie game. That will be fantastic. So
cool. Okay. Well, actually, talking about release dates, we all know Crackdown 3 got delayed.
Yes.
They didn't talk about it at E3. They're not going to show it at Gamescom. What's happening with this game? Well, Aaron Greenberg came out, and this was his response. He said, 2016's too full. He said they've learned they want to space out the releases a little bit. His exact quote was, we've been more thoughtful about spreading out our titles over the next year, not cramming them all into the holiday season. Giving people time to play games, to have time and money to be able to go buy the next game. When we look back at that holiday window of time, we sure didn't see anything. We didn't need another big AAA game. So we'd rather give the team time. We'd rather give the team time, and bring that out sometime next year. Now, that seems like a bad excuse to me.
It's so loaded.
One of two things: one, the game wasn't ready and they didn't want to admit it; or two, this is going to be a big Scorpio launch title next year.
I agree with both of those. And I think he kind of said – so here's the thing. So I think that everything he said was partially accurate and partially marketing speak. And here's what I actually think the problem is. I think the problem is they don't have a lot on the docket for next year. So if you look at this year, we have Forza Horizon 3, we have ReCore, Gears of War 4. Those are the big, exclusive games. And you tend to get 3 during their year. Forza is normally always there. Then you have stuff like Halo and Sunset Overdrive and things like that. Tomb Raider last year, and so you have things like that come out. What I hear is we may be more, because I think we would probably expect Halo to be another year. Typically, Halo's 3 years apart. So you would think that that's going to be like 2018. So what is their big game now for next year? So you have Gears this year. You had Tomb Raider. You have Gears. They're not going to have another Tomb Raider ready, probably. You obviously aren't going to have another Gears. Halo is probably 2 years down the road.
When's Halo Wars?
Well, Halo Wars is February. But I wouldn't consider that. I mean, when you think of juggernauts for Microsoft, you think Halo, Gears, Forza. Like that's the three pillars. Crackdown could become that magical next pillar because everybody remembers the first game so well. And if you remember the first game came with a demo for Halo 3. So like nobody even wanted to play. Wasn't it Halo 3? I think it was Halo 3.
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So nobody even really wanted to play Crackdown. They just wanted to play Halo 3, and like everybody bought Crackdown, and then everybody loved Crackdown. And then they were like, oh, they love it so much, let's rush out a sequel. And the sequel was complete garbage. And so this gives them – this is like their mulligan. If they don't nail Crackdown this time, Crackdown's done. Like they have to nail the game. So I feel like that they needed more time. I think that's 100% true. And then, but then the other part of that is I just don't think I don't know what other huge first party that they can rest their October, November on since Halo's not going to be there.
Right.
And so
we know Sea of Thieves is coming sometime next year. Is that?
Yeah, but it's still that's a new IP. Like Microsoft is known for sequels. I mean, you're going to have typically they're going to have some. Here I'll give you an example. Sunset Overdrive came out 3 years ago now.
That game was amazing, by the way.
It was an amazing game. It completely bombed, and so Xbox, they you have seen them tend to start putting newer IPs maybe earlier in the year, or even like in the case of ReCore. ReCore is coming out in September before they launch Gears. So like that October-November slot needs to be where they're going to have the marquee title, the reason that you own an Xbox. Right now, from what they've shown and what we know, like what's that game going to be? Now, Scalebound probably will come out in the fall, but Scalebound is a new IP. So I would put next fall. You may see a similar thing to what they're doing with ReCore, where maybe Scalebound pops out in September, and then you have Crackdown lead the holiday rush in like October. Sure. So I can kind of see that.
Well, I mean, honestly, looking at that, even though there's not that much we know of next year, Scalebound, Crackdown, and Sea of Thieves all next year, that sounds like
that's a win. I mean, yeah.
Right. And plus, on top of that, we know we're going to get a new Assassin's Creed. We know we're going to get all this other, third-party stuff to fill in those gaps.
Of course. But I think that's what they're saying, right? That what he's saying is, like, we could have gave you Crackdown in January, and then we could give you Sea of Thieves in April, but what are we going to give you during the holiday, especially with Scorpio probably launching around the holidays? What are we going to give you to play and to push during the holiday? So I think we'll see Sea of Thieves late, maybe like an August, September type game, Scalebound kind of around there somewhere, and then I think that they will push Crackdown as their big holiday title.
Sure. Now I was going to say something, then you said it. I totally forgot what I was going to say. No, not a problem.
Sorry.
Not a problem. But, okay, with that, talking about Xboxes and releasing and things like that, let's hop into our topic of the week.
Topic of the week. I sang it that time. I didn't yell.
This week we're going to talk about Xbox One S. That is coming out pretty soon. So before we get into our thoughts on this, let me just say, what is the One S? It's going to be 40% smaller than the standard Xbox One. It's going to have a built-in power supply versus having that giant brick. It'll also be able to output 4K Ultra HD for video streaming and for Ultra HD Blu-rays. Can do both those because it have a Ultra HD Blu-ray drive in it, which is great. It's got an IR blaster in it. Pretty much what that does, that was in the Kinect camera. So when you told your Kinect, change the channel or make volume go up and down, that's what the IR blaster does. It sends out the little signal for your television. But that's going to be built into the Xbox now. It's also going to offer high dynamic range through the video. And pretty much what that does, according to Xbox, it offers higher contrast ratio between lights and darks, which bring out the true visual depth of your favorite games.
Yes.
So we're getting better color.
Yes.
And
yes.
The new controller is going to feature Bluetooth.
Yes.
The only other thing, the difference, outside of being a white system versus the standard black system.
I do like the white.
It will not feature a Kinect port.
Good guys wear white. Yes, no Kinect port.
Now, if you have an Xbox One now, you upgrade to One S, contact Microsoft, and they will send you a special adapter to hook into your One S. However, you need an outside power supply to make the Kinect work.
Yes, and Jamie, if they don't have a Kinect and get one for free, how much is that going to cost them?
I believe it's $40 for the
$40.
adapter. Yep.
So you could sell your Kinect for $10, or you can spend $40 to use it still. So.
But okay, and real quick, what we found out this week, August 2nd, we are getting the 2 terabyte version of this. Now we know that there's a 2 terabyte, a 1 terabyte, and a 500 gig version coming. Now the 2 terabyte version is going to be $399. The 1 terabyte version is $349, and the 500 gig is $299. Now, when they first announced the Xbox One S, they said coming in. Did they say it was coming in August? I think they said it was coming in August. And when they did, they said for $299. But now, yes, it is in fact coming in August, but it's the $399 version.
Yes.
So is that some slippery technique by Microsoft there, or did they plan to release them all at once and they pulled back? What do you think happened there?
Look, I don't think that, in my experience with Microsoft, especially with Phil at the helm, I don't feel like that they have been purposely deceitful for any specific reason. So that would not be my go-to response. If you're asking just my gut reaction, I feel like that a couple of things may happen. Number one, they're going to sell the $299 model before the holidays because that's the one that's going to fly off the shelves. So early adopters like full price Andrew, if you can get them attached to spend an extra $100 because they want it on August 2nd as opposed to, let's say, hypothetically September 15th, right? So if the average person wants to get the $300 console, they can wait an extra month and it's going to be there. They're going to have it, and they'll sell plenty of them to the holidays. But the flip side of that is if you walk into a Target or to a GameStop and there is a $299 model right next to a $399 model, 9 times out of 10, what is the person going to walk away with? $299 model. So so for me, you release the more expensive one first. You let the people that want to get one right now have the privilege of getting it, having the extra space, spending the money, and then whenever it's time, you
get the privilege of spending the money.
Yeah, I mean, that look, you're paying a premium. For me, you can buy a $299 console for 500 gigs. You can get an external hard drive. You can get an external 2 terabyte hard drive for what, $60-$70 now. You plug it up, and now you have 2.5 terabytes. For the same price as getting a 2 terabyte. So I wouldn't jump in right now and pay the extra $100. I would just rather have an external hard drive myself, and that's probably what they're banking on because I'm not going to buy it. And but there will be some people, full price Andrew, that will pay whatever they want them to pay to have the console first. So
sure. Now I will say I don't think Andrew's going to go for the $399 2 terabyte model August 2nd.
What do you think he's going to go for?
Well, one other thing they announced, I was going to hop into this later, but might as well, go with the flow of the show and throw it in now. They did announce a Gears of War 4 bundle.
That's right.
It is the 2 terabyte model, but it's going to be Gears of War 4 themed, and the controller will be Gears of War 4 themed.
Yes.
And it's going to be $449, so an extra $50. Now you're thinking, why would I pay extra money just for that, that theme on my system? Well, you're actually getting a little bit more than that. It will come with Gears of War 4, but it is coming with the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War 4, which is normally $100 on its own. You get early access to the game, so I think you get it like a week early or 4 days. It's not a huge amount of time, but you do get to play it early. You get the Season Pass, and you get exclusive in-game content with it as well. So you're getting, a cool theme plus a $100 game for $50 more than the standard 2 terabyte console, and it's coming out October 7th. So now we all know Andrew's going for this one, and I considered getting it, but I'm like, man, $450 for a console I already have.
Yeah,
I mean that's a tough sell.
Yes. So okay, so a couple things about the Gears console. First off, at E3 they showed a small trailer with the Gears 4 Elite controller, which is, it's a Gears 4 themed controller, but it's the Elite. So it has all the paddles in the back, has the interchangeable joysticks and D-pad. The D-pad is actually really cool because it has like the Lancer and like the grenades all kind of fashioned on the D-pad plate, so it looks kind of cool. That is not the controller that's coming with the console. Now, if you buy an Elite Xbox One console right now, you get the Elite controller. But with this Gears of War 4 pack, you are getting a Gears of War 4 controller that is very similar themed, has the red splattered blood look to it, but it is not an Elite controller. And so, just if you're listening to this, PSA. That's not the controller you're going to get. It's just a standard controller.
Right. Now, that Gears of War 4 Ultimate Elite controller is $200. So if you want to go all out and go extremely Gears of War, you can pay $450 for the console, an additional $200 for the Elite controller. That way you've got a Gears-themed Xbox One S and 2 Xbox or Gears of War controllers, one of them being an Elite. That's going to cost you $650.
Oh, now, not to mention that they are also releasing is it JD? Is that the son's name?
Yes.
JD. So they're releasing a JD-themed controller as well that is blue and gray with the COG logo on it. And that's just a standard, new Bluetooth controller, not Elite. But you can also pick that one up if you if you want. So let me say this. You mentioned I do not like themed consoles. So I would not ever buy this because I do not want a blood-ridden square box sitting on my entertainment center ever.
Your children would love that.
They would love it. I do like themed controllers because they give a little bit more personality, and I put them in the drawer when I'm not using them. I like the JD controller. I'm actually contemplating getting the JD controller. But I
see, now you're playing Gears with me, and you're speaking the lingo. All about Gears. Now you're like in the zone.
Now I like it. I like the COG symbol. I like the blue. Looks nice. We'll wait and see about that. So here's the thing about that. So you're planning on getting one, Jamie? Yes.
Yeah, because now my purchase of the Xbox One S is more out of necessity than anything. Because when I play my Xbox One now, before when I played it, when it got too hot, you could hear the fan kick in and all that stuff. Well, now when I play for a while, you don't hear the fan kick in anymore, and it gets extremely hot. And I'm like, that can't be good. So I'm hoping to trade mine in and get a One S before that thing, dies on me. Yeah. So I was really hoping the 500 gig would be available to purchase as early as soon as possible, August 2nd. That would have been awesome. Because I looked at GameStop because that's probably where I'm going to have to trade it in. Because there are other places that trade it in, but that's in my small town in Ohio, GameStop's pretty much my only option. Yeah. But to trade in the original Xbox One and a controller, you get $120 for that. So that's almost half the console right there.
Yeah.
Plus, I have some money saved up as well. So I mean, I could knock that out pretty quick. Now, honestly, though, if I find out that it's not coming out to like the end of the year, then it maybe between now and then I'll have to save that extra $100. Just out of necessity, needing that system.
Of course.
Now, if I do have to send, now I will say this: I'm not a big themed console person either. I've actually never purchased a themed console. But if the opportunity arose where I would have to wait till the end of the year to get a 500 gig or get the Gears bundle, because I'm going to get Gears 4 anyway.
Yeah.
I consider that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's and I didn't say that to belittle anybody who likes that.
We know you like to poop on everybody's party.
I do. I like anything that people like. I completely hate. So
you're the little rain cloud of everyone's lives.
So that's just me. I would prefer not I would be fine with a themed, like, give me a blue with neon stripe, like a design, but I don't like blood splattery. The Call of Duty one that came out a couple of years, it looked like a submarine torpedo with all the bright yellow and gray on it. No, I don't want something like that. I want it to be able to be part of my entertainment center. But that's fine. There's some people.
Question.
Like that. Yeah.
Remember the Xbox 360 launch? You could buy faceplates.
Yeah,
you need faceplates, man.
Yeah. Those things are so stupid. I never bought one of those stupid things. But again, I don't like that kind of stuff. I like it to look slick and just kind of fit in. I do love the white design. Every time I see it, my finger slowly ekes over to the pre-order button. But the problem is, and Phil even said this, like, this is not for Xbox One owners. I have my, and like you said, it's out of necessity for you. My Xbox One is perfect. It works great. I love the white design. I love that it's smaller, but it doesn't do anything. I don't have a TV that supports, HDR, so I'm not worried about the contrast difference. That's not going to affect me right now. And then so then for me, the biggest advantage is I want a Bluetooth controller. And I can buy a Bluetooth controller from Design Lab, or I can get the JD controller, or I can just buy a white controller when they come out in August. And so that's kind of where I fall into it. I'll be interested to see if so we talked earlier, and I guess I kind of jumped the gun a little bit. We talked earlier about the console selling and why it just hasn't picked up. And I'm just interested to see if this console, launching this year before some really great games, smaller console, smaller prices, white, so it's really setting. I mean, PlayStation and Xbox launch are both black. They're both kind of dull. So I mean, it's kind of stepping out. It's just changing its whole, kind of visual design. Like, if that is enough to see kind of a really large spike in sales, and I think that I'm worried about the fact that Scorpio is coming out next year affecting that. Mm-hmm. And that's where I am. If Scorpio was not on the radar, I would probably think about just updating my, trading in my console and updating for the nicer, smaller one, just like you are, and pay a very minimal price for it. Mm-hmm. But now I'm thinking, okay, but in another 6 to 12 months, they're launching Scorpio, which is going to change the whole.
And that's probably going to be, I mean, honestly, we don't know. It might be $600, $700, $800. We have no idea.
Could be.
So all this money I'm spending on a 1S, I could have been saving for Scorpio.
Exactly.
I mean, that's kind of frustrating for me personally.
Exactly.
But I mean,
exactly.
I completely agree that what Phil said was true. This isn't for current Xbox One owners, but like, who is this for? Because
exactly,
if you're a serious gamer, and I know a lot of people like myself, like last generation 360, PS3, Wii, I had all the systems eventually.
Yeah.
And a lot of serious gamers, they like to own all the consoles, which is fine. But if they have a PS4, let's just say hypothetically they've got a PS4 and they've got a Wii U, they didn't make a jump to an Xbox One yet. Now, are they going to buy the Xbox One, or are they going to wait till the Scorpio? I mean, if they're a hardcore gamer, they're probably going to wait for the Scorpio.
Yes, agree. Agree. So then where does this console fall? This console falls into the moms and, you know, the grandparents walking into the store Black Friday saying, you know, oh, my son wants an Xbox. This one looks like one. It's only $299. Perfect. I'll take it. The question is there enough of those people to make a difference? Right. Like, I mean, you know, because they're now also going to be side by side with PlayStation. PlayStation is going to have the same price, you know. And then, you know, Wii U may even see a price drop before holidays because God knows they need to sell anything they can to make that system work. So who knows if they get a price drop. So again, we're looking at 3 consoles and what costs. So you're right. So the hardcore gamer who knows what's going on, I think that if I'm a PlayStation gamer and I'm interested in finally switching over to Xbox, there's no way I jump in this fall until I know what and how much Scorpio. Now, if they come out and Scorpio is going to be $900 and I'm like, I ain't paying $900 for it, then maybe I buy a Slim, an S then, but I don't buy it now, not until I know what's going on.
Sure. So, and I mean, honestly, though, the last weekend, my wife's family, they had family party and we went there and hung out with her family on Saturday, which was great. But we were talking to her cousin, who I have as a friend on my Xbox One. He has a 360. He's had a 360 for a long time. Like, he's not big into video games, but, you know, he enjoys them. And he said he wants to get an Xbox One. He said, should I get one now? And my brother-in-law, you know, he's a big Xbox guy too. You know, we were kind of talking to him, and because he was considering getting a PS4, we said, you know, you've already got Xbox, you know, in place. You already got the infrastructure in place. I mean, he agreed. He'd really like to keep all his friends, you know, because that's where a lot of his friends are. So we told him about the Xbox One S, and we also told him about the Scorpio. And he goes, well, you know what? I'd rather have the Scorpio or the One S because I don't, you know, I play video games occasionally. I, you know, like them, but I'm not going to pay all that money to get the best of the line. Mm-hmm. I think the One S is going to be for those late adopters like him who are still playing their 360 when games come out, because there are still games, quite a few actually, still come out on 360, and he's buying those versions, you know, of Destiny and of, you know, all that. He buys the 360 versions of those games. So for him, he's just going to get an S and he'll be fine. He'll be happy. He wants an Xbox One. He doesn't care about the technology side. He just wants an updated system to play.
Yeah. So I was going to say that this is very similar to what happened last gen, right? And this, I think, is what the S is going to fill, because Xbox 360 dominated for 3/4 of last generation. And that's because, just like Microsoft doing some stupid stuff at their launch, Sony came out and said, you'll get a second job to fight these killer crabs. And you're like, what are you doing? And Microsoft did a similar thing with the Xbox One. So PlayStation was like hands off for a long time. About halfway through the generation, they made the PlayStation Slim, or whatever they called their version. But it was a slimmed down PlayStation 3. They lowered the price. They added PlayStation Plus, where they started giving you free games. And then what you saw was the late adopters now start buying. And by the time the generation ended, Sony and Microsoft were literally neck to neck in console sales last generation. And so I feel like we're seeing exactly the same thing, but changed. So what we've seen the vast majority of what we would consider gamers buy a PlayStation. And now we're getting a good price drop on the Xbox One. We're getting a really cool slim model. I think over the next couple of years, we'll see people like that have their PlayStation, they're kind of comfortable, or people that just had their 360 and didn't take the time to upgrade yet. They're going to be like, now's a good time. It's a good price, a good system, got a good catalog of games. Let's go ahead and jump in. So we may actually see this shift back to we may get to a point where Xbox is back selling more like on a monthly basis than PlayStation is, because literally how many more people can buy a PlayStation? They've got so much of the market now anyways. You know, those people are going to start now having extra money to put toward an additional console if they want to go that way.
Sure, but okay, PlayStation 2, I know it's like PlayStation 2 and Wii are like the highest selling consoles of all time. They both sold over 100 million, right? So technically, you can still sell another 60 million PS4s, right?
Yeah, true.
Just by that theory. True. But, you know, one interesting thing with this generation, I think people are adopting so much later. people are still making games for 360. They're still making games for PS3. So people don't really see, the necessity to jump. Where in previous generations, when a new system comes out, old systems are just, they're just cut. They don't make that system's done. It's gone. We're not going to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
Where, now PlayStation is a little different because PlayStation 2 was supported, well after, I forget how many years after PS3 came out. But, for previous Xbox systems, they've always just cut it off. And so with people with 360s, like where I can still play Destiny, I can still play the new Tomb Raider. I don't need an Xbox One. But now with things like Fallout 4 and some other games coming out, where you have to have a new console, I agree. Now's the time to jump.
Yeah.
So, I'm buying one for sure. Andrew's probably getting the Gears bundle. You are on the fence depending on the Scorpio.
Yeah. I probably, unless something happens to my Xbox One, I probably won't jump in. I tend to always have two consoles, so at some point, I will probably have a Scorpio and an S because I really like the smaller model. I really like the white. But right now, I just don't. There's nothing that it does that I need or that does different than my console now. It doesn't run games any better other than HDR, which I don't have. So yeah. So I'm on the fence just because I want it because it looks pretty. But I'm pretty much not really in the market for it right now. So we'll see what happens. Now, I will say, if Microsoft really wants to they need to bring Pokemon Go to Connect, and then they will basically rule the world. So
right. Now, one thing I will say though, if you thought the Xbox One was a large system, wait till you see the size of the Scorpio, because I can only imagine how massive that system's going to be.
So we've talked about this several times on our shows, but I fully expect the Scorpio to be a computer. I think it will
absolutely,
look
100%.
like a tower. I think it will look like a freaking PC tower.
So you think it's going to be more of like a horizontal? It's going to just stand up.
There will be ports on the back. I still am under the impression that there may be some ways to modify it. So I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be to the extent of a PC where you can upgrade your graphics card and you can, that kind of stuff. But I think there may be like slots that you can, install additional like hard drive space and stuff like that. Like I think it will
like a Sega CD or Famicom disc drive.
Exactly. I think it will look like a PC. I think it will stand up. Sure. I think it will have a power button. I think it will have slots and crap in the back. I think it will look like a PC.
Well, with that. With our Scorpio talk, Xbox One S talk. That's going to end our topic of the week. Make sure to check out XboxEnthusiast.com. We've got some great reviews on there. Like I said, I've got my Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing review up, so check that out.
Yep.
We've got, I know Andrew just put up 10 Second Ninja. I know Steve just put up Carmageddon. You said you just put up
Song of the Deep's up there.
Song of the Deep. Right. So check out all those reviews. We've got some other great articles up on there as well. Make sure to check that out.
Yeah.
As for the podcast, you can always find us, on YouTube if you want to watch the video version. Like I said, this week we had to record it on Google Hangouts, but it's okay. You still get to see our beautiful faces.
Yeah.
So, check that out. But if you want the audio version, you can always subscribe on iTunes. We're also on SoundCloud and the Google Play Store, so make sure to find us there and rate us. We would absolutely love that. And give us your feedback. Actually, one thing I want to throw this out. Other place to find us on Facebook, Google Plus, and Twitter at Enthusiast Xbox. So make sure to check that out. But if you want to talk to Chris, something's going on with this Xbox right now. We want to figure it out. So if any of you know what's going on,
yes.
Every time we play Gears,
yes,
we have to Skype because his Xbox party chat does not work.
Does not work. Look. Nothing works. I can't send video I can't send audio messages. It doesn't work, and it literally drives me bonkers. So if anybody knows what is the matter with my Xbox, I cannot talk. Now I can hear. I plug my headphones into my controller, and I can hear game audio. I can hear Jamie talking, but I can't speak. My microphone doesn't work. I've tried the actual official Xbox headset. I have these Bose, these Beats earbuds. It just doesn't work. I don't know why. It drives me crazy.
So if you want to respond to Chris and let him know what's going on.
At NeoLego.
At NeoLego. There you go. And if you want to make fun of Chris, make sure to send him messages at NeoLego.
Yes, thank you.
But as for myself, you can find me on Twitter, on Xbox, and actually now on Instagram.
Yes,
Chris,
Instagram.
At Jamester0722. So make sure to check me out there as well. I tweet a lot. I never post anything on Instagram. I just kind of follow people. But
we're going to change that. We're going to change that.
We hope you guys enjoyed another show. We're sorry we missed last week. Our schedules didn't really align. And Andrew should be back next week, so we should have a full crew.
Yep.
Hopefully you enjoyed this little two-man show.
Yes.
But until next time, guys, we are out.
Bye.